Hi guys, as promised, here are some of my rehabilitation tips from someone who lives with chronic pain for many years now from a lower back injury that I've had, or diagnosed for 5 years, but suffering for longer than that. I really know what it is to live with pain, so I have lots of different tricks and tips up my sleeve to teach you over this program of how you can help yourself get out of pain. And also like when you're going into crisis of pain as well, because when we're living with chronic injury, when we're living with chronic pain, there are different degrees of what that means. Some days we're better than others, some days we do a strange movement and then all of a sudden, boom, we're going into a crisis. And so I want to teach you some of my tips that I teach in the studio of how to stop that crisis from going any further. So today I'm going to teach you two exercises you can do with the ball. There are lots of exercises you can do with the ball, and I'm going to start with two of my favourite ones. So we're going to start with releasing the Quadratus lumborum. So the Quadratus lumborum is a muscle that runs either side of your lumbar spine, okay? And it's kind of like a mountain of muscle. And what you're going to do is you're going to slowly with a ball go in and release all throughout the Quadratus lumborum. I do not want you going on your lumbar spine. I really want you to make sure that you're either on the top of the mountain or on the side of the mountain, okay? If you have a hernia that's pushing on the nerve, this doesn't always make you feel better, okay? So you have to gauge that yourself, depending upon where you're at in your stage of your injury. You'll know. If you do this and it doesn't feel good, then stop. But normally, for most people that have a lower back injury, the Quadratus lumborum release really feels good. Also, be careful that you don't do it too much. It's not something that I want you doing every day, because then you can go in and irritate the muscle as well. You know, if you keep on pushing at something, pushing at something, and pushing at something, that's going to end up irritating it as well. So sort of choose your moment to do it, and then let it be, and maybe do it once or twice a week. You don't have to do any more than that. You can also have a look at your body in a mirror as well, and you'll see when you're rocking from one side to the other, you can see that Quadratus lumborum is pulling from one side or to the other. So that can also give you a gauge to go in and maybe spend a little bit more time on the side that's pulling. There are lots of different muscles that I'm going to teach you about releasing that go into making the lower back feel worse, but we're going to start with your QL muscle. So a head pillow, of course, comfort. You're going to lay on your back. You're going to start by lifting your bottom up. Those of you that are in serious crisis, be careful with that, because that might also hurt your back even doing that. I'm going to start at the bottom of my Quadratus lumborum, and I'm going to start in the middle of it. So I'm going to sit on top of it. I'm not on my spine. And then I'm going to roll to the outside slightly, because I find that the outside of my Quadratus lumborum is the gristlier bit and the tighter bit. And then I'm just going to slowly rock from side to side, because I like to always move when I'm releasing my muscles, because that helps the fascia also release.
And Natalia, you're not putting your full body weight.
No, I'm holding myself up with my legs.
Okay.
And you know, the idea is that you kind of, once you feel that part of it's released, you then kind of move again and then try and find another spot. And you'll find that the trigger points in the Quadratus lumborum are quite breathtaking, okay? They really take your breath away, okay? When you hit a trigger point in the QL, it's you get this like feeling, okay? If you get that feeling, you know you're on a good spot, and stick to it for a little bit. And sometimes those deep trigger points in the Quadratus lumborum can really make you feel like, am I going to be able to stand up after I do this? And you will be able to stand up, but there are those feelings of like, whoa, because it really does feel, when it's really contracted, it feels pretty painful to be sitting on those trigger points. And I just really want to reinforce, do not go on the bones, please. Make sure you stay on the muscle. And I'm going to suggest that you do it for about 5 minutes on each side. However, when I'm on a Sunday evening, when I'm doing my normal working week and I'm at work, I will usually spend 10-15 minutes on each side. You can also just sit and relax on it. You can take your leg to the side, and then I can just sit
find a trigger point, find a spot, and just sit and wait for it to relax. Okay? There is an element of joy to releasing your quadratus lumborum as well, because there's a feeling of afterwards, once it starts to release, you do get this like feeling. And especially if you're someone that's living in pain, this will really give you a good moment afterwards of being able to breathe again and to feel like the spine is just releasing and giving. So I'm going to stop there, but you guys, I'd like you to experiment with your quadratus lumborum.
However, what I am going to do is I'm going to do a back video next, and I'm going to do some stabilising exercises in there. I always want you to follow up your QL release with a stabilising exercise, okay? I don't want you just to release. I want you to make sure always when you do these release exercises that you do go in and do something to stabilise the back as well.
And always both sides, you always say.
Make sure you do both sides. Don't just do one side.